Hello, I'm Dave from Energy Efficient Homes, and today we're going to show you what's involved when insulating the house properly. We've carried out a home survey on the property and documented some insulation measures that are required to get the home performing. There's a large amount of cold air infiltrating the house and heat escaping. So these insulation measures must be very good at stopping air movement and trapping heat. We're going to use 3 different insulation systems on the property. The first one is going to be the spray foam insulation system. That's going to stop a lot of the cold air that's getting in at the eaves level and infiltrating the dry lining system and taking an awful lot of heat away. The next system we're going to use is the cavity wall insulation system to the front of the property. There's a cavity wall where you see brickwork on the front of the house, and air is moving in that cavity and just taking heat away. So we're going to pump that cavity with the silver graphite insulation beads, and that's going to stop the air movement, which is taking heat away. Then the third system we're going to use is the rock wool prime system. That's a system where loose wool is pumped in. It's loose as in it gets into all the nooks and crannies, and that's going to stop heat moving up through the joisting into the attic space in the dormer crawl spaces. Cold air is getting into the building along the fascia and soffit box at the eaves. This cold air is getting into the walls, it's just going everywhere, cooling down the entire house. So the first thing we've got to do is install a spacer card between the rafters and trap that cold air behind the spray foam system. So we're going to tidy up the existing insulation that's there and install the card from the bottom up. When all the cards are in, we're going to spray the open cell spray foam onto the card and in front of the timbers to stop the timbers themselves pulling heat out of the crawl spaces, which will mean it'll be warmer. The timbers are going to breathe or permeate into the ventilation gap behind the spacer card, so the moisture is always going to be taken out of the attic and pulled into the ventilation space, keeping the air quality in the attic nice and dry. These are European certified materials and they're NSAI registered procedures. The spray foam system is going to last a lifetime, unlike the wools that were there which shrink over time, but they're also going to perform a hell of a lot better while they're there. Anybody who has a dormer building or an attic conversion needs to get the spray foam system installed to stop that cold air just getting into the building. Our home survey identified massive air movement in the front porches and extension roof spaces which hadn't been insulated at all in some cases. We'll open up these roof spaces and apply the spray foam to the back of the plasterboard, which will trap heat in the rooms. The spray foam will stop the air getting into the home. That cold air is moving down the dry lining system walls and coming out sockets and under skirting boards. Every house is different, and we identified this little weak spot just before the front door where air was getting in through the soffit and moving through the room, cooling it down quickly. So we will spray foam this section and that'll resolve that issue. Now that we have installed the spray foam insulation system, we're going to put a layer of wool on top of the existing rolls of wool. The best way of doing this is using pumped rock wool prime because it gets into all the nooks and crannies. This is going to give us a lovely, level, complete layer of wool which is going to trap heat underneath that section of the home and make it warmer for the homeowner. We're going to insulate the cavity wall sections of this house with silver graphite bonded beads. So firstly we drill out the walls to the NSAI drill pattern, and then we pump in the bonded bead into the cavity. We then point up the brickwork to seal up the walls. Most walls have rigid insulation boards in their walls. These never perform, as one side of the insulation, which is smooth, is being fixed to the rough wall. This leaves a gap. Air moves in this gap, which takes heat away. So the beads seal up the wall and stop that air movement. Some houses have dry lining systems on their external walls, and there's normally huge amounts of air movement in these dry lining systems, and there's measures that we carry out to stop this. So that's all the works complete now on the property. It took us a day and a half to carry out those works. And just have a look at the front of the home and inside the home. You wouldn't even know that these works have been carried out. We opened up extension roofs to access them and insulate them properly, and porch roofs. We drilled through the brickwork and you wouldn't even notice. Have a listen now to the homeowner and what they have to say about how the property was performing and how it is performing now. You can also have a look at our website, our Facebook page, and we also have a lot of videos on our YouTube channel where you can see work's been carried out on the property. So thanks for looking at our video, and if you want to get your home surveyed and performing, you can give us a call.
We first heard about energy efficient homes from our neighbours when they had insulation installed into their house. We too had a very cold house and had discussed getting this done in the future. When we heard about the immediate effect that they felt and that the house was much warmer than previously, we knew that we really needed to get a move on and get it done. So we called David from Energy Efficient Homes to come and do an assessment for us. When David gave us the results of his analysis of the house, we were absolutely shocked at how much insulation there should have been in the house when it was built. David was able to explain about cold air movement between the walls and how the materials he used would be able to help that and make the house warmer. We called 3 or 4 companies to get quotes to have the insulation installed in the house, and we decided to go with David because his quote came in the most reasonable, and the fact that he had done work on the house next door and it came with a recommendation was just perfect. The guys started work when they said they were going to start, and from the moment they walked through the door they placed sheets on the floors to protect the floors and the stairs. They were very respectful and professional. They were quite a friendly bunch really. The high level of experience shows throughout the work that they have done. They've obviously got a lot of experience in the building trade, and all in all it only took a day and a half, which was great. Just like our neighbours, we felt an immediate difference, and it was absolutely fantastic. Because initially we discussed the money side of things and who wants to spend money on something you can't see. The first bill spoke for itself, but most of all, the house now feels like a proper home. It's warm and cosy. In fact, the very next day, my son said his bed was too hot and we've had to change his duvet for a lighter one. It is definitely money well spent and absolutely worth doing. We noticed a difference straight away and the home is much cosier. We'd highly recommend energy efficient homes to anybody.